Today I'm going to share everything I've learned from making fried rice once a week for the past 10 years. This is the only fried rice guide you'll ever need. The biggest lesson I've learned making fried rice over 500 times is that you need to use leftover rice. No matter what techniques and hacks you see out there, it's just not going to give you the same result. The reason why leftover rice is important is because the rice dries out as it sits in the fridge, which results in that fluffy, beautifully separated rice grains in the end result. Every time I'm cooking, I take about 10-15 minutes to prep all of the ingredients so I can be more present while I'm actually cooking the dish. So let's do that. We'll start with the scallions. We want the roots and the greens separate because we're going to use them separately. Now, one thing I'd like to do with the scallions is to chop off these dead parts at the top. So I just line them up and chop this off. Okay, now that we have the scallions chopped, we're going to chop the green chilies. And I'm going to chop this finely just because I don't want huge chunks of chili in my mouth when I'm eating these. And this doesn't have to be perfect. You just want it to be minced. And you can use your knife like this to make it easier. Next is another interesting ingredient that we don't typically see in fried rice, which is cilantro. And trust me, it works really well here. Calcutta has one of the only, if not the only, Chinatown in India. And eating things like fried rice, chow mein, and Indo-Chinese style dishes was a big part of my childhood. There are only 4 ingredients we are adding in terms of aromatics to this fried rice. We probably need about 3 to 4 cloves of garlic, but feel free to use as much as you like. The garlic brings some earthiness into this dish because we've got the scallions and we've got the nice herbal flavor from the chilies as well as the cilantro. And the garlic helps ground this dish, although the dish would just be just as tasty without the garlic, the cilantro, and the chilies with just the scallions. Looking to chop the garlic into bite-sized pieces. It doesn't matter if it's not perfectly even. It's really important to use fresh garlic. The stuff that comes in the jar is just not great. It doesn't have the same flavor. It has this kind of off flavor because of the liquid that is used to preserve it. So yes, this takes an additional maybe 3 to 4 minutes, but it's totally worth the effort. Now I'm going to use the same technique to chop the garlic into smaller pieces that I did with the chili. Okay, that's it for our prep. Garlic is very sticky and it makes the chopping board sticky, which is why I always prep it last so that I don't have to wipe the board in between the different ingredients. The second thing I've learned is that you need to cook the eggs before you start cooking the fried rice. The eggs cooked along with rice just don't result in the same type of fluffy fried rice that we want, and that's because the eggs add moisture to the rice, which prevents you from creating that beautiful texture that we all crave and love. The first thing that's going to go into this hot wok is some neutral oil. Pick an oil that has a high smoke point like avocado oil or canola oil so that it doesn't burn. Add the egg, let it sit for just a couple of seconds before we scramble it. This is a quick hard scramble, not a soft melty one that you would likely want with a piece of English muffin. the third lesson I learned is that everything needs to be cooked on high heat. Yes, this sounds a bit scary and it means that things could burn, but that's why you need to prep all of your ingredients, have them close to you, have everything measured out before you actually start cooking. That way you'll get that lovely smoky flavor from the heat of the wok, which is essential to this dish. First, we're going to start with the scallion whites. Then we're going to add the green chilies. And we're going to add the garlic last because it tends to burn. Saute that for just a few seconds, and now we're going to add in our rice. The goal is to flavor the rice with that infused oil. Make sure that each grain is coated with that oil so the end result is fluffy and beautiful. I'm going to finish off with some MSG. That takes your fried rice to the next level, even if it's just half a teaspoon. Once the sauces are in, we're not going to cook this for too long because we don't want to evaporate all of the flavors. We're just going to mix it thoroughly, make sure there's no excess moisture. And now we're going to add the eggs back in. As well as our garnish, which is cilantro and the greens of the scallions. And that's it. Our fried rice is ready. Now I have to try it before we plate it. So let's see how it tastes. I'm getting that hint of green chili, and it's nicely balanced, not too salty. We've got a tiny bit of tang from the vinegar, and of course I can taste the garlic and the scallions, and the grains of rice aren't overcooked. And I get that smoky flavor from the high heat cooking. This is absolutely delicious, and I would serve it with some chili chicken or some chili paneer. And tonight we're gonna make some chili prawn that we're gonna serve this with. So try it at home and let me know what you think and what you serve it with. If you enjoy quick and flavorful recipes just like this one, you'll love my street-style chow mein recipe. Watch that next. Watch that next.
It's all creepy at the end.
Okay.
Watch that next. Bye. You said sausage instead of sauces.
Is that sausage?
No, just kidding.